Are you looking for books to while away the lazy, hazy days of summer? If so, I have got something here for everyone. Whether you're looking for something plot-driven and page-turning, you want something charming and sweet, or you are looking for an immersive, epic, sweeping story, I've got them all today in my 5 timeless series for lazy summer days. Hello book friends, I'm Jen and welcome back to my reading life and welcome to another video in my summer reading series. And today I'm here to talk about some series of books that I think make for an excellent way to while away the long days of summer. One of my favorite things to do in the summertime is to just get lost in a story, a book that I just don't want to put down. No matter how hot and uncomfortable it is outside, I just want to keep turning the pages. And each of these 5 series, for very different reasons, I think make for immersive summer reading. I tried to pick a variety of series for whatever your reading mood might be this summer. And depending on what you're looking for and what your mood is, I think one of these series might be one that you will find yourself deep diving into this summer. So without further ado, let us get into these amazing series that I think make for fantastic, lazy summer reading. My first series is one that will probably require the most time commitment from you. It is quite big. There are a lot of pages to get through in this series, but I promise you, you won't even notice them passing you by because this is such an immersive, sweeping, epic family saga, one that I recommend over and over again and cannot say enough good things about, and that is The Cazalet Chronicles by Elizabeth Jane Howard. These are the 5 books in the Cazalet series. The first book in the series is The Light Years, followed by Marking Time. Next up is Confusion. Book 4 is Casting Off. And the final book in the series is All Change. In the Cazalet Chronicles, we of course follow the Cazalet family, and the series begins in 1937 in Sussex in England, and we are following the Cazalets. We have the parents, or the grandparents of the family, so sort of the matriarch and patriarch of the Cazalets, and then their 4 children, their 3 sons and their 1 unmarried daughter. And then the 3 sons, over the course of the books, you see them get married, have children. Some of them already are married with children when the story begins, and you also follow along with young children and watch them grow up. And this series traverses about 20 years. I believe it ends in 1958. So over the course of 20 years, we follow the Cazalets, all of their trials and tribulations, obviously through World War II and what happens to all of them. And we watch the kids grow up, and there is a lot going on in these books. I will say that please be sure to look up any particular trigger warnings or topics you don't particularly like reading about, because there are some things in here that are difficult to read about, and I wouldn't want you to be surprised by that. But because this is such a large family, there are some things that happen to some of the characters that are sensitive and deal with some difficult topics. So just please be aware of that. But this story is it just sweeps you away. I think that's the only way I can describe it. I was completely drawn in to the Cazalets. And because we have such a large cast of characters, it is very helpful that there is a family tree in each of the books. And the family tree does grow. So by book 5, you will see more additions to the family and who we are following, and all of the children and subsequent grandchildren and things that come along, and marriages and all of that. So this is it's such an amazing family saga. I think it is by far one of the best family sagas out there, especially if you're looking for multi-volume family sagas. This one is not to be missed. I promise you, once you pick it up, if you're a lover of family sagas, you will not be able to put this one down, and it will make for a fantastic summer of reading. Now we're going to go in a completely opposite direction and to a series that is just sweet and wholesome and charming and so incredibly nostalgic. This is one of my childhood favorite series, and it's one that I'm actually in the process of rereading right now, and that is the Betsy Tacy series by Hart Lovelace. I love this series. I just want to hug it. It's so wonderfully charming. There are 10 books in the Betsy Tacy series, and the one thing that is really, really fun about this series is that it grows with the reader. So if you were to give this series to a child, you could start them off with Betsy Tacy, which is the first book in the series, at a very young age, say kindergarten, first grade, somewhere around there. Read it to them as a read aloud, and then they could go on and subsequently read the rest of the stories as they grow up. And the writing style and the themes and the plot and everything, they just progressively get a little bit more advanced as you go along, so that by the time you get to the end book, you could be reading that book when you were in your, say, teen years. And I love that. I think that is such a wonderful way to write a series to grow with children. And it's just delightful. But this makes for an absolutely wonderful read for adults because, again, it's got so much nostalgia in it, and I think it will just take you back to simpler times, as they say. Betsy and Tacy live and grow up in the Midwest. Hart Lovelace was from Minnesota, and she wrote about what she was familiar with. And so she really, really kind of understands Minnesota and what it is like, what it looks like, what the people there are like, and you just find yourself completely immersed in this world. So in this book, I have the first 4 books in the Betsy Tacy series. So they get a little bit longer as well as you go along. So in this, we have Betsy Tacy and Tib, Betsy and Tacy go over the big hill, and Betsy and Tacy go downtown. So those are the first 4 books in the series. And I have to say, if you read Betsy Tacy and it feels very simplistic to you, just keep going, because like I said, it does get more complex as it goes along, but it retains its sweet, charming, wholesome nature to it throughout the entire series. Next up in the series are Heaven to Betsy and Betsy in Spite of Herself. I'm actually currently reading Betsy in Spite of Herself right now, or rereading, I should say. I read all of these when I was young, and it's just so fun to watch Betsy and Tacy as they start to grow up. This is kind of the beginning of their high school careers, and yes, just so lovely and charming, and also just so reminiscent of what it's like to be a teenager. And then next up, we have Betsy Was a Junior and Betsy and Joe. And then we finish up with Betsy and the Great World and Betsy's Wedding. So we get to culminate in Betsy getting married. And it's just such a lovely series. I can't say enough good things about it. It's so heartwarming. And if you have never experienced Betsy Tacy, maybe this is the summer to meet them and fall in love with them and just spend some time in their world. Again, cannot recommend them enough. If that is what you're looking for, just sort of that very nostalgic read, Betsy and Tacy will give you that. Next up is a series that is a trilogy, and while this is also a family saga, it feels very different from the Cazalets. So if you want something kind of equally immersive but really propulsive in its plot, then this is the family saga for you to check out. And that is the Montmaray Journals by Michelle Cooper. And the first book is A Brief History of Montmaray. Then we have the Fitzosbornes in Exile, and we finish up with the Fitzosbornes at War. Now, please do not pay any attention to these covers. I wish they would reissue these with different covers. I don't mind this cover so much, but these two, I don't know. I don't feel like they do these books any justice. So do not judge these books by their covers. In this, we are following Sophie Fitzosborne. She is a member of the royal family of the fictional island of Montmaray, which is off of England, France, and Spain. It's sort of in the Atlantic Ocean. There is a lovely map in the beginning of this book, so You can see Montmaray is right there. So here we have the United Kingdom over here, and then France and Spain. So this is where it is situated. That does play an important part in the series. So we have Sophie. She is ultimately a princess, though the Kingdom of Montmaray, well, it's kind of falling apart. Sophie lives with her family, which include her younger sister, her older brother, her cousin Veronica, and Veronica's father, who is the current king of Montmaray, but he's a little bit cuckoo. And so we are following along with them. It is 1936. Clearly, things are happening in Europe at this moment in time, and Montmaray is going to be somewhat put in the middle of things, and that is going to affect the Fitz-Osbornes. So these books are written as Sophie's journals. So if you enjoy an epistolary novel, one written in journal or diary format, then definitely give these books a read. They are so fantastic. I believe they are classified as young adult novels, but they don't read that way to me, at least not what I think of when I think of sort of modern young adult novels. It's just such a lovely story of one girl's coming of age, as well as this sort of overarching story of the entire family and what happens to them. And I just loved this. I have to thank my lovely friend Melissa from A Duchess Inside. She was the person who put these books on my radar. I had them on my shelves for quite a while, and I was so surprised, pleased, and just blown away by how good these were when I finally picked them up and read them. And I just whipped through all 3 books in the trilogy, because once you start, you will not be able to stop reading these. I promise you, if that sounds interesting to you, definitely pick up the Montmaray journals. It is a fantastic trilogy, and it will make for immersive and escapist summer reading. I'm going to finish up this video with 2 mystery series. The first one is more on the cozy mystery side, though it's probably more what I term cozy adjacent. I have read 14 of the books in this series, and I just reread the first book because we just are reading it for the Cozy Reader Book Club this month, and that is The #1 Ladies Detective Agency by Alexander McCall Smith. If you have not yet met Mama Ramatsue, you are in for a treat. This is such a wonderful mystery series. And if you're looking for a mystery series that doesn't often, if ever, I'm trying to recall if any of the books actually feature a murder, but for the most part, the mysteries that Mama Ramatsue is solving in these books, they are not murder. So they are not necessarily violent crimes, though sometimes it might appear that way. Definitely look up if you are concerned about the subject matter. I think in any book, particularly mystery series, you should always do that if there are things that bother you, to make sure that the book won't have those things in it. Overall, this is just such a lovely and different type of mystery series. So Mama Ramatsue has the #1 Ladies Detective Agency in Botswana, where she lives. And in this first book, we really are getting a lot of backstory about her. Just about what has happened to her, about her relationship with her father, about her marriage, and just about introducing the characters who are going to be important throughout the rest of the series. And I think I loved this first book more on my reread than I did the first time I read it, because these characters have come to be just close to my heart now that I've read so many books about them, and I feel like I know them so very well. And I definitely think give the first book a read, but if you're not wholly convinced after book 1, go into book 2, because I think that the stories and the mysteries and the interpersonal relationships of the characters just get better and more complex as time goes on. We have more characters added to the stories, and it's just such a lovely, lovely series, and I just feel like I've become a part of Mama Ramatsue's little community in Gaborone, and it's it's just delightful. So this is also a wonderful series to read in the summertime because it is set in Africa. And so the heat of Africa often plays a big part in the stories. And it just always feels like books I want to pick up in the summertime when it's already hot outside and I want to read about other places that are even hotter than where I am. So I think this makes for a wonderful summertime series. It is fabulous on audio as well. So if you are looking for some audiobooks for your summer reading, then definitely give this one a read. I will link the audiobooks down below in the description box, as I will have all of the other books listed as well. You can always head down there. I always list the books that I talk about so that you can find direct links to them. I try to link my editions where I can, if you are particularly interested in the editions that I'm showing in my videos. I do use affiliate links and it doesn't cost you anything. It does just help to support my channel and I so appreciate you shopping through those. But this is such a fabulous series. There is also a television series which I think just covers, I'm not sure how many books it covers. I can't remember. It's been so long since I watched it, but it is also wonderful. Jill Scott plays Mama Ramatswe in it and she is absolutely fabulous. And if you've never watched it and you are able to, I would definitely give it a watch after you've read maybe the first 3 or 4 books, just so you don't have any spoilers. But I think it mostly tackles some of the things in the first couple of books. And I do want to recommend one series, a bonus series, that is actually related to the #1 Ladies Detective Agency. Did you know there is actually a children's mystery series about Precious when she was young? And it's called Precious Ramatswe's Very First Cases. And I listened to these on audio and they were just very lovely. They are really, really short, almost short story length. There are 5 books in the series and it is just lovely and sweet and charming. And if you have a child in your life who likes mysteries, I would definitely recommend these for them. But if you are a fan of the #1 Ladies and you want to see Precious when she was a young girl and first solving some mysteries, then definitely give a listen to those. I'm not sure if you can find the books in either ebook or physical book format, but I will have them listed below if you can. But I definitely recommend the audiobooks. They are also wonderful. So if you've read all the books in this and you haven't read that little series, I definitely recommend it as a companion to these. I can't recommend this series enough, and while I think it makes for great binge reading, I also think it's a wonderful series that you can just pick up as a palate cleanser between other heavier reads. So if that is something you are looking for, then definitely add this to your TBR. It is one of those series where I think even if a lot of time passes between reading the books, you can just pick right back up where you left off when you pick up the next volume. And it is just so lovely and charming and not to be missed. And my final series that I am sharing today is a mystery series that I have read every single book that was written in this series. Unfortunately, the author passed away before she could finish the final book in this series. But at least we have 25 books in this series, and that is the Alphabet Mysteries by Sue Grafton. So these are the mysteries that feature Kinsey Milhone. I have the first 5 books in the series here. I found these fun mass market paperback editions at my library book sale recently, and I really love these particular editions. So I can't remember how many of these they published in these editions, but I'm going to try to track down as many of them as I can. But these are in really great condition, so I'm excited to have them because I am planning to reread at least the first few books in the series this summer. So of course they follow the alphabet, so it's very easy to keep track of where you are in this series. So the first 5 books are: A is for alibi, B is for burglar, C is for corpse, D is for deadbeat, and E is for evidence. And this, again, as I said, it follows Kinsey Milhone. She is a private investigator. She lives and works in the fictional town of Santa Teresa, which is based very, very closely on Santa Barbara, California. And it's lovely because I've been to Santa Barbara numerous times, and so it is fun to read about someplace that I am somewhat familiar with. Kinsey is the sort of female hard-broiled detective, and she's single, she lives alone, and she's very much just her own person, focused on her job. And while you get to know some of the characters in her lives, she has her neighbor and good friend who you get to know very well throughout the series. And there is this, I believe it's a Polish restaurant that they always eat at, which sounds terrible. And I don't know why they eat there. But they do a lot. And so you get to kind of know some of the peripheral characters in her life. Lots and lots of things happen to her. Again, these are very much sort of, not police procedural, but, private detective type stories. They are very plot driven. So if that is what you're looking for in a mystery series, they are not particularly graphic or gory in that respect, though there are deaths in them. So please keep that in mind when you're reading them. But really, it's sort of all about solving the puzzle of the mystery. And because Kinsey is a private investigator, she doesn't have the same tools that somebody who works for the police, say, would have. She has to rely on her own wits and legwork and just kind of figuring it all out for herself. And I just love this series. I love Kinsey. She's such a likable protagonist. And if you've never read this and you enjoy mysteries, you definitely should give this a read. It is such a fantastic series. As I mentioned at the beginning, Sue Grafton made it through Y, so there are 25 books. Unfortunately, she passed away before she could write. Z is for we will never know. But I am so happy that we have so many of these books. I have read all of them and I love them, though I do think, like a lot of mystery series, the earlier books are stronger. I do think it can be challenging to keep a series fresh when it goes on and on for a long period of time, but you can't go wrong with, I would say, the first 15 books in this series at least. But if you get sucked into them, you will want to read them through to the end and you won't regret it. It is such a wonderful series and I can't recommend it enough. It makes for great reading anytime, but I think it really makes for fantastic summer reading. So get yourself the Alphabet series. It's very easy to find. I'm sure it's on audio. I know you can get ebooks. I know the books are readily available. Your library probably has most of them. So this is a very easy series to get your hands on. And like I said, I love it. I've been reading it since I was, I think, in my late teens. And yes, it is just fabulous. I'm so excited to be revisiting it this summer. Spending time with Kinsey just sounds perfect. And those are my 5 series for lazy summer days. I hope that you found something here that appealed to you that you haven't yet read. And I would love to hear from you. Let us share in the comments, what are some of your favorite series that you think make for great summer reading? So let's talk about books that have, let's say, at least 3 books in the series, because I think sometimes in the summertime, or if you've taking a vacation or a holiday during summer, or you're on summer break, if you're a teacher, sometimes you just want to get stuck into a series that you can just spend the entire summer with. So let us share all of our great recommendations for summer reading series down in the comments below. And if you're here but you don't have anything you'd like to add in the comments, but you'd like to let me know that you were here, why don't you leave a series of emojis? Whatever emojis you would like, leave a series of them. I love seeing those and knowing that you were here, and they really do help my channel, as do likes and also hypes on the YouTube mobile app. And if you're new here and you haven't yet subscribed, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so that you don't miss any videos from me. Thank you all so much for being here, taking time out of your day to spend it with me, for all of your lovely comments on my recent videos. We've been having some really great discussion, especially about British women writers, about mysteries, about all kinds of good stuff. So I so appreciate you being here and being a part of this lovely bookish community. As always, I'll be back with another video very soon, and until then, I wish you a good book and a warm cuppa or something iced, depending on what the weather is like where you are. I'll see you soon. Bye.